Hello, beauties. So it's me, Sarah, and I've just returned from an amazing adventure down to Southern Oregon where I was able to be immersed with 800 women in the forest by the Rogue River and on 100 acres of land. And it was absolutely stunningly empowering and nourishing and nurturing and insightful. And so I wasn't sure if I'd actually be able to make it to Ask the Invisibles today, so I didn't make a formal post. But I wanted to honor if anyone is popping on for today, as it is an integration day for me and my house needs a lot of maintenance. But something that I do want to share with you that I'm very excited about is I made a drum. So I was thinking that just to share some of the medicine of this adventure and of this journey, this pilgrimage that I made to Southern Oregon, I wanted to sing a little song. And if there is a question that you have in Invisibles, this is a little more informal today. I didn't put it on Be Live because I'm still integrating. I don't think I'm gonna from my adventure that I arrived from yesterday. So I'm gonna sing this little song just to bring us here together and allow us to just feel a bit of the, oh, it's been probably Vanessa. Here we go. So here's just a little song just to ground me because I zoomed here from my office to make it for you guys. Okay. Bye do yo do bye bye no do. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 All right. So that was just a little grounding song as I'm still grounding from one heck of an adventure. So let's see who we've got today. We've got Rebecca, we've got Jessica Jane, and some other people popping on. So this is Sarah Burns' Ask the Invisibles. And like I said, I'm coming back from a beautiful gathering, 800 women in the forest for 5 days. And coming back with a lot of prayers answered. And so I'm hoping that I can support all of you. We've got Haley here. Hey. All right, and so how this works is first just want to acknowledge the great beneath. So acknowledging all of the energies that support us and are anchoring us and anchoring our dreams in a very physical, tangible way in this life, that great earth that holds us and that we in some ways are made of. And then I want to acknowledge the great beyond. So all the energies of the above, the celestial realms, the unseen, the spirit planes, the ancestors, the angelic realms, all of the expansiveness from being able to step out of our human experience and explore the greater horizons of what's happening. So thank you, Great Beyond, for being with us. And then for anyone watching, if you want to put your hand on your heart, this is when we acknowledge and thank the great within. So thanking the great within you, all of your stories, your memories, the teachings, your life experiences, your ancestral lines, all of that's embodied and encoded in you in this moment, and just acknowledging that preciousness. And thank you and the great within for coming to this session today. So that being said, today I'm setting the intention that whatever comes through is for the greatest good of all beings, is here to support you and your dharma and your offering to yourself, to the planet, and to the world. And that is really what we're here to do, is to encourage and support just thriving, the thriving nature that each of us has as a birthright. So the first question that I'm going to go to, look, we've got a bunch of people popping on. We got Rebecca, Jane, hey sweeties. So we got Nicole. Okay, so I'm just gonna ring this bell, bring us into presence, and I'm going to probably start with my own question and then get on to everyone else. Here we go. So my question is in regards to integration, and I'm curious if the Invisibles have any suggestions or observations that can help anyone that is either about to embark on a really big journey, or when we have these times in our life where we are receiving a lot of information, and life is really, really moving fast and is kind of alive and expansive. But specifically in relation to what I've just been on, which was like immersed with 800 women in the forest for a week, how to integrate all of these teachings that come through in these times of acceleration in a very physical way. How do we settle these big life changes in a very physical way that might seem like they exist on a more in a spirit plane, right? How do we bring those here? So that's a bit of my question, and I hope that this answer supports any of you that can understand what that feels like to have these big settling downs to life after big expansions on a spiritual level. So here we go. So the same guidance we have for this question can be applied to grounding yourself from the dream world. Because sometimes in life, these experiences that one may have may easily be seen as a dream if not integrated in one's life. Whether it's having a journey, an emotional journey, a spiritual journey, a big life acceleration. And then once you arrive in your body or arrive home, wondering what to do with the content that you've explored or that's revealed itself about yourself. Just like when you awaken from a dream, it's up to you to choose to use that information to inspire and encourage you in a certain direction, or to let it melt and sift right back to where it came from. What we encourage to have the most sustainable and nourishing long-term integration process is to think of it as a slow diet, where the information that you've received needs to be assimilated over and over again in routine. So if something that's come up is speaking to a certain direction that your life needs to take, then use that information to start bringing that into your action, your daily action. Whether it's studying about it, taking small steps. So just with any releasing of expectations, it's important to also create expectations for yourself. Create agreements that will help you bring what's happening and what's fresh and let it ground itself through dedication and practice into your life. We'll end there. Thank you. Wonderful. All right, so moving on. So if you have a question, by the way, this is questions for yourself, humanity, or the planet, feel free to put it on the thread. My internet's a bit funky out here, so if it's hard, kind of tricky for me to find private messages recently, I've noticed, if I'm not at my office. But if you send a private message to me. I'll do my best to check on it, and you can just give a little like hint on the thread to check my messages. So let's see how this. I'm also not using my, usually I do this through BeLive, which is really easy and helpful, and I'm still integrating for my trip, so kind of space setting it up. So you're just gonna have to bear with me as I figure out how to scroll on Facebook here. All right. Figuring out technology. Oh dear. I don't know how to scroll here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because I'm not able to see all of these messages, unfortunately. Hello, everyone popping on. You're all going to have to bear with me a little because I wasn't able to set up my very streamlined process that I usually use. All right, so let's see what we got here. I'm just going to read what I can read because I can't scroll for some reason to see what you guys have put on. So the one thing I can see is from Vanessa Jane. Hi, Vanessa Jane. And so Vanessa Jane is asking if there are any spirit messages for her. All right, let's see what we have to say. Well, kind of showing me this image. So I'm going to describe this image. So this image I saw was like, I saw this great vast water, whether it's like an ocean, and it was like I could see this image of smelling, like smelling something that's coming from across this ocean. And the feeling I got was that it represents that there's something that is getting your attention possibly, but it feels like it's out of reach, or it's going to be a big process to get to it, but it's like it feels like it's really like possibly stimulating imagination. And so let's see what they have to say about this. They want to know if you're still here. Are you still here, Vanessa Jane? Because I'm curious if, oh, I think I figured out how to make it loop. With you about this. So Vanessa, my dear, are you here? Perhaps you are not here. All right. This is. First, I want to apologize, everyone. I'm feeling a little confused not being able to see all your messages. It's kind of. Oh. So Vanessa, if you're I'm seeing little emojis. I'm seeing that. I'm just not seeing people's messages. It's kind of frustrating for me. You know what? I'm not being able to see all of your messages as they come is making me feel like it's going to be hard for me to actually honor how I want to do this work. I can see your emojis. So you know what I'm going to do is oh gosh. I swear it's not like this every week. I have a very streamlined program I use, but it was too late to set it up. Okay, so because I can't actually see people's messages, which is an issue, I'm just going to speak for a moment, and I'm going to speak to a universal message for all of you. And then you can all come back next week when I'm totally back from my gathering and have set up all of this streamlined process that makes this really easy for me because I don't understand how to use this one. And so right now, let's just speak to what's needed right now for all of you to hear in some level. And then we're going to have a short episode. And next week we'll come back with full gusto. When you wander through life idly, with the desire of not taking the initiation that's being called upon you to go for what you truly seek, then much like idling, you are creating an energetic residue of stagnation. And why we're bringing this up is that stagnation, which at first may seem like a healthy pause, is actually capable of interfering with how the world sees you. Because on an energetic level, you're surrounding yourself with something that's diluting your presence to the world. Because part of bringing your presence, bringing your radiance, bringing your cause, bringing your purpose is allowing yourself the responsibility to making that happen. Just like you allow yourself to idle. So why we're speaking this to anyone that this relates to is because now is the time to really stoke the fire that you want to focus on. Oh, they're kind of showing me this image. They're showing me this image of all of these like small little fires all around the place, right? And how just say each fire that we create is an idea, whether it's a small idea or a project that you want to do. And each of these ideas are like tiny little fires, but they require you to tend them. And the more that you spread out, the more you thin out all of these tiny little projects, these tiny little fires, the less you're capable of truly focusing on them, right? And some of them might go out, might be forgotten about, but none of them can, if there's too many projects, if there's too many aspirations that you're tending to, just like a fire, you're not necessarily going to have something that's going to truly nourish you and keep you warm or even cook on, right? Like that this what you're tending to isn't enough to really sustain your life. And so it's important at this time in your life for everyone watching too to explore what kind of projects do you have that you've been tending to, and what kind of projects have you felt like you're tending to possibly slipped off, right? So these can be collaborations you've had with other people, they could be intentions that you've created with other people, even just like kind of what they're showing me right now is sometimes even just the intention to like, oh, let's have tea together and like talk about this. That in some ways kind of like a little fire that you're creating between you and somebody, and it requires you to tend to it. And so if you have created these commitments or these ideas between people and have let that slip because your focus or your time management is in a different direction, then put those fires out, right? So closing these chapters, and whether it's going to these people that you've created these ideas with and just being really upfront saying, I'm at a time in my life where I need to let go of these different commitments that I've created because I'm not capable of truly giving them the energy and the focus they need. And that is so important in life, is to realize that being honest and truthful with your capacity to truly show up for what's being asked of you is imperative to you being able to move forward, right? Because what I've noticed is that the more I'm able to really get clear with my true commitments, and these true commitments are commitments that are in alignment with my soul's contract, my soul's purpose and direction and discernment in this life, right? That these are the commitments that I know that I can focus on because each of them are in the same kind of stream of focus and energy. And so I've recently been working on thinking of what are some ideas or commitments that I've created that need to kind of be put out or acknowledge that I've dropped the ball, right? And this is really important in relationships, is realizing, like, have you dropped the ball on communicating with somebody that you've putting these communications on the back burner? Because for me, every time that I do that, I notice and I feel it's almost like an energetic cord that you have between you and a creation, you and a project, you and a person, is that these ideas or these commitments are like little energetic cords. And as you're able to address what you're really able to honor, right, with your time and energy, and what you aren't, then you're actually bringing more energy back into your life, because these cords of energy aren't getting tangled. They're not kind of siphoning out your so precious focus and presence. So I just want to share this because I was saying, for anyone popping on too, this will be a short little version of Ask the Invisibles, because with no asking the invisibles, because I don't know how to see the messages. I can only see like 5 of them. They're not moving. So with that being said, I just I encourage you to maybe even after this, write down a list, just get them out of your mind, of projects that you've created between people, or messages that need to be sent out, or conversations that are left open-ended, and see how much you can check off today or in the next 3 days. And notice, I would love to hear back from you. Notice as you're crossing off these little energetic cords, these tiny little fires, whether you're closing them or you're lighting them, you're tending to them, notice how that affects your capacity to show up in the morning, right? Your capacity and your desire to be alive, and feel that freshness of the day. Because I've found that the more I have unaddressed, the more that brings this past into my day. It brings this weight of the past, this burden of the past that is actually holding me back from taking that steering wheel and stop idling while you try to let the rest of yourself catch up and just go for it, right? So that being said, thank you all for popping on for my not so formal Ask the Invisibles, as I'm integrating from my trip back from Oregon. I have a lot to do over here. And next week, I'm going to be full force back to using my program I use that is reliable. And I would love to hear your questions there. And I apologize for not getting to what you guys needed to hear today, or what you've asked. May what I have shared being what you needed to hear. So write that list down, close up these circuits, or focus on what you're really able to support and feed and tend to right now, because summer is coming, and that is a time of a lot of energy being available on the planet to really focus in important ways. So blessings to you all on this day from Canada and from me and the Invisibles, and until next. Aloha.